one, it combines a lot of good things. It combines halacha, machshava, educational theory, close reading, you get it all. And it's about what we kind of do in yeshiva. I mean, obviously yeshiva has other components. There's chesed and tefillah, but it's hard to deny that it's mostly Talmud Torah. So we are going to discuss the Mitzvat Torah, and we're going to discuss its scope. And one of the things that makes it interesting is that there seem to be incredibly minimalist sources and incredibly maximalist sources. Like obviously, what would that mean? A maximalist source would seem to indicate, oh, when should you learn? Every second. Right? As you're waiting online for your coffee at Holy Bagel, you should have like the Panini Halacha in front of you. Okay, that would be one approach. Of course, what do the other sources indicate sometimes? What's the minimalist source? Your Yosef, if you just, thank you, Raymond. If you just say Shema twice a day, you would say. Now, in theory, that's incredibly minimalist, because if I keep these other mitzvot, I'm saying Shema anyway. Right, so I kind of, by default, fulfill the mitzvah of Talmud Torah every day. So what's going on? Do we have a maximalist theory of Talmud Torah, or a minimalist theory? Okay, so let's go to the Mishna and source 1. This, of course, we say every day. Elu dvarim she'en lehem shiur. There's things that have no amount. Hapeya, v'abikurim, v'rayon, v'chasadim, and the Talmud Torah. So here we have the Mishnah basis. Talmud Torah does not have an amount. But here comes the tricky thing, guys. What does that mean? It doesn't have an amount. Which way does that go? So someone just says, Daniel Roberts says, there's no maximum. More is always good. Okay, any another possibility? Yeah, maybe it means there's no minimum. There's any amount is good. So this ambiguity about maximalist versus minimalist is already right here. What does it mean in Shiur? So let us go to, let's go to, I do a little advertisement for something else. Okay, I personally tend to not really learn Mishna. Mitchell, just a minute meeting. Woo! Mitchell, wear a shirt. Okay. Right. Mitchell, you're getting nervous. It's okay, it's okay. Okay, so, in any case, by the way, I can't do guys, it's always important that somebody entertain the guys station event, so thank God Mitchell stayed. Okay. And just momentarily. So, we'll have enough entertainment in wins. But in wins. Okay, so in any case, so I don't really learn Mishnah, I mostly learn Gemara, but if you learn Mishnah today, most people in Mishnah tend to learn it with Kati, because Kati explains things quite clearly. But again, if you look at it at some point, there's an old version of the Mishnah before Kati that had 3 classic commentaries. It has the Bartanura, the Tosfot Yom Tov, and the Tiferet Yisrael. And I love the edition because I think Tiferet Yisrael is a great parish. So it's Rabbi Yisrael Lifshitz, he was a German rabbi in the 1800s. Let's see what the Tiferet Yisrael says. Talmud Torah, Ein Shiur Lamata. What's his first move? There's no minimum. Why not? The Yod say the Kriyat Shema Shachar Rabbi. You're saying Kriyat Shema anyway. So Avshalom Torah. It's the easiest mitzvah ever. I'm saying Kriyat Shema anyway, and I'm ready Yod say. Wait, the Gam Lamala Ein Shiur. So that's interesting. Now, which way does he pick? Is it no minimum or no maximum?
Yes.
Both. Right? So he, again, our attention really keeps coming back. Says very so shit. Well, there's no minimum. Kriyat Shema does it. But you really attract people of learning. It's never too much. There's no maximum. So you would like to cut means both. No minimum and no maximum. Okay. Now we get to some famous Gemara. I'm curious if you guys know these. There are 2 famous Gemara about how much you have to learn. One in Berakhot, one in Menachot. Some of you have heard them already, and they both involve the same 2 heroes. They both involve Rabbi Yishmael and Rabbi Birchei. But what's really fascinating is they don't seem to take the same position. Okay, in the 2 Gemara. Let's start with the first one. This is, you gotta know this much, you can be knowledgeable in the first one. Tanarabana, Yasavta Divanecha. What does it say in Shema? You gather your grain. So clearly, what does Shema assume? Jews go to work. They farm, they work the field. Talmud Lomer Yasavta Divanecha. Sorry. Fishin Emar, Lo Yomush, Torah, Sefer doesn't be Picha. Wait, but it says in Yeshua that the Torah shouldn't depart from your mouths, which means you learn the Torah all the time. Yochel Dvam Kichtavan, take that literally. Tarmelomer, Vasafti Diganecha, Han Hegben, Minag, Berakhot, Tiferet Yisrael. So, modern Orthodox Jews, we like Rabbi Shmuel. What does he say? What is say Vasafti Diganecha? What's trying to teach you? Sometimes you close the Gemara and go work the field. That's what you do. You need to support your family. Okay, so that is Shita Rabbi Yishmael. Okay, here we go. Now, Shumba Echai, think about it. He does seem to be a little bit more of a, I don't know what the word to use, extreme or radical personality. Think about his years in the cave. Okay, so here we go. Shumba Echai Omer, Efshar Adam, Choresh B'Shach Harisha. Wait, if you plow in your plowing time, V'zoreh b'shat tzirah, plant in planting season. V'kotzer b'shat tzirah, v'dash b'shat isha, v'zar b'shat haruach. Wait, Torah matela. See what these other verses is about? Wait, but if we rely on a farm, that's it. You're never going to go to the Beit Midrash. You're just going to be farming all day. So, therefore, he says, Ella bisman she Yisrael usun ritzonu shel makom. If Am Yisrael is doing the will of God, really remarkable position. Melachta naseid al yedei acheru. What does he claim? What's going to happen? Don't worry, other people do your job. Shinamar v'du zarim v'utzorachem. Bisman. So what's going on in Shema when it says Vasapta Zimcha? Bisman she'enos in Yisrael usun ritzonu shel makom. Then Melachta naseid al yedei atzman. So notice in Shmuel Chai's world, going to work is a sign of failure. Right? In Rabbi Shmuel's world, that's what you're supposed to do. Right? That is Vasapta Diganecha. Shmuel Chai says, no, in the ideal universe, we wouldn't have to do that. We wouldn't be going to work. That's just a breakout. Okay, now, at this point, you might say, okay, who do we hold like? So there are some clues as the Gemara goes on, and maybe there is a ruling here. So let's keep reading. We skip to Amar Abaye. So Amar Abaye, so Abaye gives like a sociological survey. Harbe Asuk Rabbi Yishmael. Many Jews I see adopted Rabbi Yishmael's position. Ve'olta biyadan, and it worked. Life was good. Some people chose the Shum B'chai position. Ve'lo olta biyadan, and the claim is it didn't work. Right? I guess they didn't go to work, and then they struggled to support their families. So again, it's not explicit, but I think we all agree it seems to be a argument in favor of Rabbi Yishmael. That seems to work better in life. That's what Abaye says. And to go even further, you know the comments. Amu Rav Rabbanan, Rav said to the rabbis, B'matutu minaychu, I plead of you, B'mei Nisan, B'mei Tishrei, certain parts of the agricultural season, is amazing. Lo titchazu kamai. I don't want to see you guys. Meaning, don't show up in my shiur in the Beit Midrash. Why? Ki heiti du titardu b'mizonayka kulushata. So you don't have a problem with mizonot? Mizonot? Food all year. I mean, I guess those 2 months were crucial times in the agricultural cycle. So Rabbi says, I want to see you now. Those months, you shouldn't be here in cheer. You should be out there doing the work, and then you can be okay all year. Now, it's a little funny for me, because every year there's one guy like this. Usually most guys in yeshiva, you want them to be in the Beit Midrash more, but there's always somebody who's in the Beit Midrash too much. Right, so actually, you know, I don't really pick up somebody this year. Who should I pick? I don't know. But in case, I would often, so there's a guy named Aaron Priven who used to be like that. So I used to walk him in and say, Aaron Priven, get out of here, go play basketball, like enough already. Okay, so I guess that's wrong over here. But if it says, no, it's Nissan, you shouldn't be here. You should be out doing something out there. Okay? So in any case, let's sum up and take questions. So here we seem to have a debate on our very topic, right? Rabbi Shmuel envisions you're going to work. Rabbi Blau envisions some ideal plane where you're just learning all day. And the Gemara does, I think you'll agree, seem to have an inclination towards Rabbi Shmuel. Both Abaye says that worked better in life, and Rava tells his students, oh, a couple months a year, I don't want you to be here, you should be out there working. Okay, Jacob.
Is there a distinction to be made between like Yuma and Shiur here?
Say it again, tweet.
Between Yuma Mitzvah and Shiur Mitzvah?
Okay, great. So Jacob is for sure correct. Okay, we have two terms. We have what's called a Chiyuv Mitzvah and a Kiyuv Mitzvah. And very often in life, when I do something, I might not be obligated, but it's certainly very much a fulfillment of Mitzvah. So Jacob is suggesting, well, maybe the way to navigate the tension is to say the Chiyuv is fulfilled with just Kriyat Shema, but every minute is a Kiyuv. I think he's certainly right about that. This is to make sure we get the category down, guys. Tell me some other examples in the Jewish system where you have a Kiyuv without a Chiyuv. I'm sorry? Okay, so arguably tzitzit. Good. What else? Okay, guys, one of our favorite Orayta topics. Okay, oh, not Tchelet though, but one of the other four. Okay, women, thank you. Okay, right. What happens when your sister wants to sit in the sukkah and eat lunch? She is not obligated, but everyone would agree it is a kiyuv mitzvah. She's not doing something neutral. She is fulfilling the mitzvah. So Jacob's totally right. Certainly the kiyuv distinction should be helpful. Caleb?
According to Rava, during a Shemitah, you're like yoga.
Oh, that's a very interesting question.
Did you learn all year?
He might say, yeah. Yeah, that's a very interesting point, Caleb. Okay, anybody else? Yeah, Gabe.
So would we say that as well in terms of the general approach to fulfilling and the Zilberman approach, like concentrating on
That's an interesting question. I'm not sure, that's very fascinating what Gabe said. I have to look this up next. Just to explain Gabe's question, the original mitzvah tefillin was we used to wear it all day. And then at some point in Jewish history, we decided it's hard to behave yourself all day. Like we actually behave ourselves all day. So at that point, we said, okay, let's just focus in on Shachrit. You wear for Shachrit, and then you'll take off your tefillin. Is men here? No. Man? Okay. And, that will be fun. Okay, so in any case, so it isn't the question, are we somehow saying that as long as I put it on someone, I can fill the chiyuv and everything if there's like extra credit, or I'm not sure actually how to formulate exactly what happened here. What was the original mitzvah and how we fulfilled the credit. So that requires a little bit of work. Okay, we're good? Okay, great guys. Okay, I will say one thing just for me. Okay, I try not to be so critical, but I don't really like this Zilberman's approach. Because it seems to be a little odd, right? Here, I know, holy rabbis who are 70 years old feel like they're not worthy of wearing tefillin all day. Then you're telling this 14-year-old kid, oh, you can do it. Sure, it's a great move. I think it's a little arrogant. Okay, in any case, let's go back over here. Okay, so that is Rabbi Yishmael versus Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai. But now something's going to basic, guys. Okay, if we go to Menachot, arguably it's exactly the opposite. So, what's Menachot discussing? So in the Mikdash, on the Shulchan was what's called the Lechem HaPanim. And Lechem HaPanim is supposed to be there all the time. It says Lechem HaPanim alai tamid. Now the question of course is, how seriously do you take the word tamid? If you take it very seriously, we have a new Olympic sport, which is synchronized bread switching. Because what would you need at that point? One group is removing last week's bread, as the other group is, like how seriously they, like synchronized swimming is still an event, right?
Yeah.
Okay, there we go. Okay, so let us see what the thing is. Tani, source 5. Rabbi Yossi Omer, a few silek et ha'ishana shachrit. Even if I remove the old ones in the morning, v'sider et ha'chadasha arvit, and I arrange the new ones in the evening, and there's a huge gap, ein b'kach klum, that's not a problem. Meaning Rabbi Yossi says, don't be such a literalist about the word tamid. Tamid does not really mean you need it every second. But in his analogy, Elamani Mekayim Lifnei Telufanai Tamid, Shelo Yalim Shulchan B'lo Lechem. It shouldn't be overnight without bread, that's the problem. Tamid just means you don't go all night without it. Afilu Shana Adam El Perek Echad Shachrit Berakhot Arvit Kiyam Mitzvah Lo Yom Mashiach Does It Deah. So that's what Rabbi Yossi does here. He makes an analogy between the Lechem HaPanim and Talmud Torah. Namely, when it says Lechem HaPanim is always there, it doesn't mean always there. So too, if it says you're always learning, it does not mean you're always learning. One chapter a night, one chapter in the daytime is good enough. Okay, then it gets even further. I'm Rabbi Yochanan, but look who he's quoting. Mishur Shimon ben Yochai, Afilu lo karadam el kriyat shema hashach b'arvei, yiem lo yamush. Amazing. What does Yochai say? The minimalist position. I can fulfill the mitzvah by just saying kriyat shema. So notice we're going to set it up strongly in a second. We're going to have a double contradiction. What position does Yosef take in Berakhot? You should really do it all day. Don't go to work. What position does Yosef take here in Menachot? Actually, 2 paragraphs is enough. Okay, here we go. Give me a second. Now, we're going to skip a little bit, because it's a very educational bit, but I'm going to do it later. Okay, skip to Shaul ben Dama. This is also famous, guys. Shaul ben Dama ben Achotosh Rabbi Yishmael or Rabbi Yishmael. So Rabbi Yishmael's nephew has a question. Kagonani shelamarti kol Torah kula. I have finished Shas, I learned it all. I know every Tanchuma. Ma'hu l'lmod chachma yivanit. Can I go now and study Greek wisdom? No. Karla v'mikra. Is that what Rabbi Yishmael say to him? Lo yamush sevet bicha v'kit lo yom v'layla. You're supposed to study Torah day and night. Famous line coming. Tzei u'b'dok sha'ah she'einu lo yom v'lo min halayla v'lo min chachma yivanit. When you want to study Greek wisdom, what's your move? Yeah, not day or night, because day or night you're supposed to be learning Torah. But notice this is Rabbi Yishmael, who told me in the previous Gemara, go to work. So let's ask guys a double contradiction. See if you can resolve one, you can resolve the other, you can resolve both. Again, Rishon LeChai, Gemara 1 says, oh, ideally don't go to work, just learn Torah all day. Then in Menachot he says, actually 2 chapters get you done. You fulfill your mitzvah. Rabbi Yishmael in Berakhot said, go out to work, that's Fasakti Ganecha. But yet in Menachot he says, well, you can't learn any Greek wisdom because there's no free time. Day and night you're learning Torah. Does anyone else answer either the Rabbi Shimon Chai contradiction or the Rabbi Yishmael contradiction? I didn't see a way out. You know, maybe think about them independently. Tyler.
I mean, it seems like Moshe and I would kind of take that Chiyuv versus Kiyum type of argument, saying they could.
Okay, excellent. So Tyler wants to go with Jacob Shammah that in Menachot, where Shimon is dealing with the Chiyuv level, which is really minimalist, but in Berakhot, he's dealing with a more aspirational level of Kiyuv, which would be every second. Yeah.
I think to solve Rabbi Yishmael's like contradiction, you could maybe say that in the first source he's prioritizing like doing things that benefit you, like outside.
Okay, terrific.
But in the second one,
Getting very good answers. So Sammy is suggesting that maybe with Shmuel, it all depends on what the other pursuit is. Like, let's say, I think Sammy's totally right with this. Let's say I say you don't have to but wouldn't it depend greatly on what is the value of the other thing that is competing with Talmud Torah? And we can have different positions on that. Maybe Shmuel is a classic pragmatist. What does he think the purpose of university education is? Support your family. Right, so when can you stop learning Torah? When you're doing something that has economic benefit. But he's not such a philosophy lishma guy. So he thinks, oh, Greek wisdom, that's not so important. Then you should stay in the Beit Midrash. Okay, so that might be a way to reconcile Rabbi Shmuel. Sammy.
In the Berakhot source, would Rabbi Shimon's view value Talmud Torah over stopping it to do other mitzvot?
So that's a great question, so I'm going to duck for now. Now, even though there's a rule, guys, called Osek b'mitzvah patur min mitzvah, okay, when it comes to Talmud Torah, another rule, how much do we apply it? We say it depends whether it's efshar lasod al yedei achirim or efshar lasod. What would that mean? I'm sitting in the Rashi grand all the time. Another mitzvah comes by. What's the question I have to ask myself? Could somebody else do it? Okay, but let's do a couple of things. Sammy, very glad you asked that. Let's do a couple of categories of what that would mean. So let's think of an easy one. Okay, there is an old lady who needs to get walked across the Rova Square. Okay, and Sammy's sitting in the baby Midrash going away, and he hears about it. But he says to himself, well, I know that Daniel Roberts is obviously there in the square, and he'll stop talking to the Rova girls for a few minutes and help her across the road. It'll be great. Okay, so I do not have to leave because Sammy doesn't have to leave because someone's going to do it. Okay, can anyone tell me a couple of categories what would make it EF show us so idea here? Yeah, Caleb. Very good. Caleb's right. Any personal mitzvah that you have that you can't outsource, so that's by definition EF shows in there. So would Sammy close the door to take a lulav?
Yes.
Yes. Nobody else could do that for him. That's his mitzvah. So that obviously relates to a lot of Torah. Okay. Another category I would have would be, let's go back to the old lady. Daniel Roberts is amazingly not there in the Rova Square. Okay, so Sammy says, well, if I don't do it, she's stuck. Okay, now I just want one more category, guys. Can you tell me a case of some interpersonal thing where even though other people are there, it's still EF shot after it? What would be a case like that? Daniel?
You're the most qualified.
Okay, good. You're right. I was thinking that. Guys, what about, let's try this, guys. Let's say, yeah, Mitchell? Oh, that's very clever, actually. But that's more like the personal one, right?
No, but he says that other people could do it.
Okay, fair enough. Let me explain. You're right, Mitchell. But what I meant. Let us say, so we're happy or not happy. All right, we'll go not happy. It's okay. Okay, let us say Hunter knows of some funeral. But then Hunter's told, oh, don't worry, there'll be 83 people at the funeral. Why might it still be good for Hunter to close his Gemara and go? Even if there's already 83 people there. What if he has a real relationship with that family and therefore his presence adds a unique amount of honor to the deceased? So that's true. It doesn't matter how many people are going, right? It's EF Shlosei Decharim because it means something to them when he's there specifically. Okay, so it seems to me, your question, Sammy, that I don't get into why right now, it's a whole shitload of its own, but Talmud Torah, if it's not crucial, you still learn, but there are various categories we actually stop learning, right? A mitzvah nobody else could do for various reasons. Okay, Evan.
How come there's those that say if you just spend all day learning, then you're cut from davening?
So the truth is, it's kind of a minority position. Where do you hear that from?
I don't know if it's anybody specific, but it's just like...
No, because you were showing me like that.
Okay.
But it's not really the mainstream position. Yeah.
On Evan's thing, I thought I heard something like, I forgot which of the Tanaim did this, but one of them would like only daven like on Rosh Chodesh or like Yom Tovim, like wouldn't daven like on regular weekdays because he was like so sick in Torah.
Okay, can you find that? I never heard such a thing.
I'll chat you with you.
Where did you get that from?
I heard it like a really long time ago, but I don't remember.
Yeah, please check it out. I'm not saying it's not there, but I've never heard such a thing.
I'll chat you.
I have heard it. There's a Yerushalmi Berakhot about, I think about Yeshivat Orayta actually. Okay, and we go so far? Okay, so let's see some of those answers inside, and then, actually no, we're going to take a break. We're going to do something a little bit unusual. Before we get to the answers, we're going to get to the educational debate, because I like educational debates. Okay, here we go. Let us go back to Menachot. I skipped a line. After Birchei said that you can be fulfilled a mitzvah with just 2 kriyat shmas. Here we go, guys. You gotta love this. Okay. The Dover said this fact at the end of the 4th line. Asur la'omo b'fnei ha'aretz. Don't tell the ignorant about this. Like keep it a secret that you're yotze with just kriyat shmas. Okay. The Rav Amar mitzvah la'omo b'fnei ha'aretz. No, spread the wealth. Tell them that guess what? You're yotze with just kriyat shmas. So this does not seem to be a fundamental debate about the mitzvah. It seems to be an educational debate, right? If we come to the conclusion that just kriyat shema, is that a good thing to be known or a bad thing to be known? So to me, I like educational debates. Okay, I guess I have education. So let's think this through. I think one is easier to explain than the other. One's pretty obvious. Why would someone say asur la'omer b'fnei ha'aretz? Or I'd say don't tell anyone, keep it a secret. Evan?
Because like people will just do the bare minimum.
Exactly. Well, I'm already someone who's not knowledgeable. We think that religious life is of a greater quality if you're knowledgeable. So don't tell them, because then, though, if they only say kriyat shema, they'll remain ignorant for a lifetime, right? They won't know anything. They won't know chumash, they won't know gemara, they won't know the kuzari, right? So don't tell them this. Okay, so I think the asur is pretty straightforward. Okay, you want to encourage more learning. Okay, but now things get interesting. Why would someone say mitzvah lo b'fnei ha'aretz? Because couldn't you argue that's just going to discourage them? All right, Jacob Wiener.
I mean, you could also say that if they're seeing all these, you know, the chachamim, and they're doing so much, and they kind of get lower self-esteem from that, because you know, how could I be on that level? And if you say, well, you can start off with just saying kriyat shema twice a day, and build from there. It's a foundation.
We'll see something very similar to what you're saying. Ben, you would say something?
Yeah, something similar. I'm just gonna say, like, if they think the mitzvah of Talmud Torah is such a large undertaking that it takes your whole day, but they like have to work in the field, they're gonna do that mitzvah.
Okay, great. All right, and that's the third possibility. Daniel Roberts.
Why? Just because something just because there's a con to something that you believe in doesn't mean you should keep that opinion away. Just because there's a...
Oh, I love it. Whoa, guys, this is great. See, this guy's teaching good yeshiva. People actually think...
Like your blood, you always...
Daniel Roberts is very interesting. I don't even know what he says. It's a great shot. He's saying that we just don't believe in hiding the truth. That's what he's saying, right?
You always say modern rabbinic thought. You always give it
and
you have proof and you have the guess.
Okay, I know. I like it very much. Right, maybe... No, I'll tell you what's fascinating. Because till now, what have I been thinking? Who is it? Who's team here? Doesn't say, right? Okay. Oh, Rob is the one who says it should say. What was I thinking? The previous position thinks it's negative fallout if you tell people this, they will be ignorant. And Robert thinks, no, it's going to have a positive impact, like Jacob Wiener. Daniel Roberts is suggesting something fascinating. Rob agrees it's going to have a negative impact. It says that, what does Robert think? You don't hide the truth just because of negative impact. You tell people the reality, like we don't believe in this kind of condescending approach to the masses. Don't tell them, don't let it out, which I actually don't agree with. I feel like there is a danger a little bit of, I don't know, maybe dishonesty is a strong word, but rabbinic dishonesty, as it were, towards the masses. What's a good example of this? Here we go. Okay, let's say someone says, we shouldn't tell people that premarital relations is not nearly as serious as adultery or being with a neighbor. Right, no, it is asur, guys, I get it. Okay, it is asur, but they will say, no, but don't tell people that, because then they won't take it seriously. They'll say, I'll never engage in adultery, but this is not, okay, so we'll cover it up. But no, tell them the truth, tell them what the Torah actually says. Right, do not play around it. Yes, Raw.
You'll have more business for Chabad now. You can tell them that every single Krishmas.
Okay, but you are something very interesting. You can have the Daniel Roberts intellectual honesty approach, and we've got the Yisrael Cole Chabad approach. No, but I think he's onto something. What does Chabad seem to think? Every little act has tremendous value. Right? You never know where it's going to go. So if you can get some random guy to put on tefillin for 5 minutes, that's a tremendous achievement. Now, I think it is interesting. I'm saying this to credit Chabad, not to insult it. I think most of us wouldn't do that because, I mean, tell me if I'm wrong, we just don't give it so significant. Okay, so you got some secularists to put on tefillin for 3 minutes. Does that really change his life? But I think a Chabadnik would say that's good enough. Like that itself is of infinite value. Is that fair, Yisrael? Okay, very interesting. Yeah, maybe.
If we hold that we don't tell the masses about that they could get their chiyuv just by saying Shema, then they don't have the intent to get their chiyuv Talmud Torah when they say Shema. So
great. Okay, so Raymond is picking up on a theme we discussed in my morning share, which I need to look into more because I'm really curious about it, which is, what if I encounter Torah texts, but not in the context of the Talmud Torah? Right, so do we say it doesn't matter? Right, whatever context it was, I'm reading the Torah text. Guess what? That is by definition an act of Talmud Torah. Oh, you say no, nothing doing. When I do it in a different context, it takes on a different character, and it's not Talmud Torah. So Raymond's right. When we say Shema works, does Shema only work if I like constantly flip on the switch? Or not even that? I'm praying away. But guess what? Despite my not trying, when I finish davening, I have fulfilled Talmud Torah. I have a couple of good examples of this, guys. What about, let's try the following. I am reading, I'm sorry, morning share. You get the same examples. I'm reading East of Eden by John Steinbeck. And it turns out, not surprisingly, if you think about the title, right, there are many references to Cain and Hevel and Gan Eden. Okay, so let's say I'm reading Steinbeck, having a great time. It is a great novel. And I encounter like some verse from Perek of Rashi. So would I say, oh great, I just fulfilled the mitzvah of Talmud Torah for the day? Would you say, no, but in that context I was doing something else. I was reading Steinbeck, I was not engaged in Talmud Torah. So that is a great question. I'm just not going to deal with it now, mostly because I'm still researching it. You got Raymond's question? Very good question. Yeah, Michael.
So the opinion that says that you can just sit and learn Torah all day, like, how does that work with the idea that you have to be like more like what you can like have to be involved in?
Look, that is an interesting question, Michael. I will just say, like, how central or Logayim is to our tradition could be debated a little bit. I'm not saying it's not an idea, but you could kind of highlight it as being extremely central. You could kind of downplay it. It's kind of like a side issue. Now again, I admit you still have to ask how to do it, but I would just say, like, it's not so clear that, I love that idea. It's not clear that that's like the essence of being a Jew. Yeah, Daniel.
So I don't know what I said earlier, is even though Rava says that it is a mitzvah to tell other people that you can just commit, you can just say Shema twice a day, maybe there's definitely a limitation that I place here, say maybe not from the beginning of their education, you wouldn't tell maybe a 7th grader to do so, but maybe when they actually are developed a little bit in it.
Okay, look, you're saying something quite reasonable, just the Gemara didn't make an age distinction. I'm not saying it's wrong, just the Gemara just said two positions.
We'd be fueling their yates, we'd be fueling.
No, here you could say that the youth is different than old age, I understand. Yes, Sammy.
I think another reason why it might be a mitzvah to show that you can do the bare minimum is because if one realizes that they can get like such an immense reward for doing just the bare minimum, then they're going to be like even more inclined.
Oh my God, Sammy, you keep saying what the Rishonim say. Sammy, if you don't mind if I say this, you're going to be a great Talmud Chacham. You just have to learn how to read. Okay, it's going to be great, Sammy. Okay, you're on the way. Okay, guys, I will say like one brief advertisement. Many guys, we have, thank God, a very intelligent yeshiva. So many of you are much better at analysis than reading. Okay, which is fair. This is not a criticism, but guys, don't give up on the reading. Okay, learning is a much deeper experience. You could actually read the text yourself. You don't have to go to Jestro. You don't go to art school all the time. So those who have this gap between analysis and reading, do not despair. Right, try to work on the reading. Let's go to some answers. Okay, so I'm going to Rashi on page 6, please. We're going to see one answer to the Rabbi Yishmael tension. Sorry, one approach to the Isser and 3 approaches to the Mitzvah. Okay, we go. Rashi, Asr, most likely all said. Shelo Yomar, a person should not say, Bekriyat Shema Sagi. What Sagi? No. Right, so that's what we said, right? Wait, you know what, Daniel, right?
It was the first word of the day for the Gemara.
Oh, wow, okay. By the way, I want to give credit to Daniel. Part of reading skills, obviously, is vocabulary. So, and getting those words is really crucial. And I've said this many times, guys, but I'll say it again. The key to Gemara is knowing which words to know. Again, if you have the Aramaic word for tangerine, you do not have to memorize that. Okay, that is not going to get you through Shas. But if you know Bishlama and Meitre and Sagi, that will get you through Shas. So it's about knowing the keywords. Okay, I'm sorry? Okay. So, that's just to entertain your Yemenite camera. Okay, so in any case, what's the claim here? What we said. Why wouldn't you want to tell Namaretz? Because what will he say? Kriyat Shema is enough. I never have to come learn. Fine. Below Yargub and Talmud Torah. What about the opposite side? Why does Rabbi think it's a mitzvah to tell the ignorant? Mitzvah lo the Savar Mishum Kriyat Shema. Note, as you said, note the schar gadol kazeh. What does he say? I know you get a lot of reward for Talmud Torah. Oh, this is amazing. You get a lot of reward even for a minimalist fulfillment. But that should motivate me to say, oh my God, if I did more, I'd really be in good shape. Okay, that's his first approach. Lashon acher. Okay, this I like a lot, his second approach. I think you said this too. Sabri hanach rabbanan dematzi pater nafshay b'kriyat shema. What do I see the rabbis? They know very well they can be Yotze with 2 paragraphs, and yet?
Still there.
So I think this is totally true, guys. I think in life, we're incredibly affected by other people's enthusiasm. And if we see someone doing something a lot, that has an impact on us. I mean, a big way. I think it's a good way. Right, so if, here we go. If you see Ami and Gideon, smiley right here, where do you go? Okay. If you see them, okay, staying up to, and moving small here. Okay. If you see, here we go. What are you doing smiling in a side room?
I gotta bring the smiles to the people in the back as well.
Okay. Wait, who else is back there? Who else?
Who undisclosed names.
So if you see people are staying up to watch basketball till 3 in the morning, so you might say something, oh my God, there must be something to this basketball thing. It's fun enough to stay up till 3 in the morning. Right, so I think the world of education is like that. I've often said people should only teach what they're passionate about, which is one of the reasons, guys, thank God I'm passionate about a lot of Torah. I have never in my life given Shiur on Mesilat Yesharim, even it's a very famous sefer, because I have to admit it doesn't speak to me at all. So I won't be a good teacher if I'm not passionate about it. So you have to teach what you're passionate about. So now, what's the claim here? What did the Amoritz do? He looks around and says, wait, these rabbis could have left right after Shacharit, and yet they're staying in the Midrash. What must be true? There's something to this Talmud Torah thing. Okay, last approach, guys, over the Sefat Emet, source 7. Okay, Sefat Emet is already of which Chassidut? Ger, very good. Shem Avram, our mitzvah of Arts. Ner Pirush, Kedei Shel Yachshov Ba'aretz, Kim B'yom V'layla, Efshar Lo L'mod, Yityaesh L'gamrei Min HaTorah. Yityaesh? Guys, this is classic debate for every parent and every educator. Do you try to raise the standard or lower the standard? Obviously, raising the standard has a certain benefit, but what's the flip side? You raise the standard too much, what do you generate? Despair, right? The student just gives up. So now, just to sum up, guys, we'll go back to now Rabbi Shmuel, right? What are our approaches to the educational debate? We have, don't tell the Amoritz, that seems to just be one explanation, because who are making rent. Tell the Amoritz, a lot of explanations. Rashi says, first approach, say if you get someone schar for a little bit, I want to do more. Rashi's second approach, you look at the scholars and say, they really could have stopped and they keep going, there must be something to it. Sfat Emet, well, you'll make people give up if you tell them to learn all the time. That's not a good thing. Okay, we have Daniel Roberts suggesting that Rava agrees that there's negative fallout, but intellectual honesty is about it. Okay, Mitchell.
Seems to be that these different approaches are meant to apply to different people and shouldn't be applied to the same person. If you're a rabbi, you should be learning more and more. But if you can have a job that encompasses all of your time, then you've still done a great thing by learning by doing creation.
Okay, so that is a great point. I just want to ask, is that about the educational debate or about the very Rabbi Shmuel debate? Which one are you thinking about? I mean, it's not a difference in what you inform people of, it's a difference on what the essential mitzvah should be. Is that correct? Okay, so we'll get to it at the end. It's going to be the last.
How do you go through the Gemara? You can't, not to mash them all into the same thing because they are addressed differently.
Right, I'm just saying that beyond the educational question, what we tell people, there's also just a question of what should a person do? Let's say a person knows all the facts. Should they be learning all day or just part of the things? Right, that's separate from what we teach people. Okay, Jacob.
About the earlier thing about if you just hear any Torah in general, you just come out you're not committed to it. In the Perek talks about Shema V'lo Yeshina, there was no. like Berakhot, is that like?
Oh, that's interesting. Okay, so I guess there's too many interesting things here. Okay, Jacob's right. Another question might be, what is the relationship between thinking thoughts of Torah and articulating words of Torah? And this comes up a lot. I mean, one context, by the way, would be just the bathroom. Right? If we say you can't have Torah in the bathroom, wait, what if I'm thinking about the sugya? I once said this, guys, I think probably a lot of you have experienced it this year. When I was 18 years old during my Shana Aleph, I was really enjoying the sugya one morning, and then I went to the bathroom and I was frustrated because I wanted to think about it more. So that was my first, I like this Talmud Torah thing. It's like it's frustrating to have to stop in the bathroom. So I think Jacob's onto something. Wait, what if I think the words of Shema, but don't articulate it so clearly? So you're right, they're all good questions, but I have to leave that aside. Okay? Let's go back now to the contradictions. We said there's the Rabbi Blau contradiction and the Birchei contradiction. Okay, everyone turn the page, please. Okay. Let us start with the Sdei Hemed. This is a great book to know many people don't know. So, I think you guys have heard from me that there's a book called, I just realized it's still here, it hasn't been over to do base yet. It's a book called the Encyclopedia Talmudic, the Talmudic Encyclopedia. It is up there, the blue and yellow volumes. And this is kind of funny, guys. It goes through like the letter Lamed so far, which means if you're studying a Talmudic topic, if it starts with Aleph through Lamed, I got this great encyclopedic entry to look at. If it's Mem through the end, you're in big trouble. But you can't look it up yet. But in any case, this is done by a whole team of scholars. But believe it or not, guys, there was a guy who did a one-man show. Okay, a man named Rav Chizkiyahu Medini, who knew a lot. He wrote encyclopedia by himself called the Sdei Hemed. Just one word there. Obviously, the Encyclopedia Talmudic has more information. But I know it's a funny thing to say, guys. Encyclopedia Talmudic, it has no personality. It's just, here's all the information. The Sdei Hemed has personality. Now, you might think it's hard for encyclopedia to have personality, but he does. Okay, so let's see the Sdei Hemed. He's going to try to answer the Shiur question. You guys see the second line of Sdei Hemed, source 9? Lo kash Deah, Deah. This is very clever. Mekame Bakol, Halavatar Bakol. What's his claim, guys? Has he solved the Shiur issue? What does he mean? What does it mean, Mekame Bakol, Halavatar Bakol? Very good. You know, is that word on your list too? Batar?
I left the morning too.
Okay, interrupt, it's on fire today. Okay, before the Bakol and after the Bakol. Okay, what do you say, guys? What Bakol is he referring to? Let's go back to Shiur in the cave. I said that what's his attitude in the cave story? An extreme focus on all you should do these spiritual things. That seems to fit Shiur. But what happens towards the end of the story? When they come into the cave and are burning up the world, a Bakol says to them, "You destroy my world? Get back in the cave." Arguably, what has the Bakol just done? Educator Shiur that his approach is off. It's too extreme. What if I tell you that after he comes out the second time, he now has shifted positions? He now no longer thinks you have to learn all day. I even have a good proof, guys. What in the Gemara reconciles him to the world? What does he see? He sees an older Jew running with 2 hottest branches for Shabbat. So I would say, basically, what does he see? Oh, these Jews who work all day, they really do care about Torah, right? Look what they do just before Shabbat. So now, just to sum up, guys, first answer Shiur in the Sdei Hemed. The Gemara in Berakhot is his pre-Bakol position. He's just learned Torah all day. The Gemara in Menachot is after he developed in the Bakol story that you could learn in just 2 brackets. Okay, let's go up to the Birchei Yosef. Birchei Yosef is the Reb Chaim David Azulai. Okay, his Perush on Shulchan Aruch. So he says something very similar to Jacob Sham. Okay, so if we go to, you see right, one on the ellipsis says the Olam Savar. Yeah, is that? Olam Savar, one line under the ellipsis. Under the, there are a bunch of ellipses. The one that says at the end of the line, Vasakta de Ganeka. It's like line 9, line 11 or something. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So we're in line 11 now, the Olam. What about how much do I have to learn, as Jacob said? That's good enough. I can fulfill it by just saying 2 paragraphs. So what's happening in Berakhot? But let's be careful, guys, because he's going to say it a bit differently. He's not going to say it as Shiur versus Chiyuv. He's going to Shiur versus a different kind of Shiur. desire. Here we go. Vidkaya. Miu Soshon Mikoach Mitzvat Talmud Torah. Are you direct a cop to the Gabe Yom Yabiho Velayla Yechabe? Umotra? Why? Ladat. Thanks, Lasod. Did I type this in? I wonder why there's a type here. Ladat Lasod Kol Torah. Kolelo Pradem Tigam Shpatem Nemchon Yuter. Shmata, Agadita, Hilchot. I would say there's two aspects according to the Chidah. One aspect is daily study of Torah connected to Torah. The other aspect is, what if I tell you there's I'm not sure what to use, if it's a kiyum like Jacob said, or a different obligation. What would be a different obligation? Become knowledgeable about Torah. That's not a question of timing, that's a question of a lifetime goal. So according to the Birchei Yosef, Yeshivat is making this distinction. What does he say in Menachot? As far as the mitzvah of daily study, actually, 2 paragraphs is enough. Kriyat Shema is enough. What's he saying in Berakhot? But what about this other goal about becoming a knowledgeable Jew? That is not fulfilled by saying Kriyat Shema. Again, I'm still not sure how to formulate it. Is the second goal just a kiyum and aspirational, or is it actually a chiyuv? But he has a very clever inference. He said, how do I know this is true? So let's go to the last 2 lines. Torah Matayala, Lo Atialam Tehtiv Ki Lo Yamush, Raku Domer Torah Matayala. Now again, this might be a little bit of a stretch, but it's clever. What was the Shemachai's formulation? Why do you have to learn all the day? Because he says, if I actually plow, plant, and winnow, what's going to be with Torah? What does he point out? He doesn't say, I can't plow in the window because it says, Lo Yamush, Seven Torah Mipiva. So what's his clever move? If it had said Lo Yamush, that would have been saying the very basic chiyuv means you can't plow and plant. Because it's not what he's saying. What's he saying? Torah Matayala means, okay, great, you filled your mitzvah, but you're going to remain ignoramus. We can't have that. So that's the focus on the second aspect of being knowledgeable. Okay, one last point, guys, then I'll take comments, then we'll get to the last idea. Okay, earlier in the piece, I'm not going to do it because we're running out of time, he suggests that it's not Meromei Sadeh Menachot, it's Rav Shimon bar Yehud Tzadok. Now, this is a classic possible scribal error, because what's he claiming? At some point, what did a scribe write? Reishin ben Yud. But the scribe meant Rav Shimon ben Yehud Tzadok, but somebody who interpreted it got it wrong and said Rav Shimon bar Yochai. So obviously that would neutralize the contradiction. So you know, I discussed in my morning share, like suggesting that a scribal error solves a mistake should be a last resort. Right? Because otherwise you can solve everything. Oh, this doesn't make sense? It's a scribal error. Okay, but the fact that it's the last resort doesn't mean it's never true. And sometimes there are good arguments for it. So he points out, I did not know this, in Argument Menachot, Rabbi Yochanan is quoting Mishna Birchei. What if we know that Rabbi Yochanan was actually a student of Rav Shimon ben Yehud Tzadok? Wouldn't at that point be a lot more convincing that it's a scribal error? Like he's probably quoting his Rebbe. That's what people tend to quote. At which point, it's not such a stretch to say that was the original. Okay, summation, guys, question, and the last point. Here's our summation. How do we solve the Shiur Birchei contradiction? Again, in Berakhot he says, learn all day. In Menachot he says, 2 chapters, do it. Okay, Sdei Hemed would say, there was the pre-Bakel Rashbi and the post-Bakel Rashbi. Second answer, there's 2 different ideas. There's the daily mitzvah study and the desire to become knowledgeable. Menachot is the daily mitzvah study. Guess what? Yeshivat does that. But you want to become a knowledgeable Jew, you got to be in Berakhot territory. Learn all day. Okay, thirdly we have, it was never a contradiction to begin with. Because one was Rav Shimon Birchei and the Gemara Menachot was Rav Shimon ben Yehud Tzadok. Okay, great. What about the Rabbi Shmuel side of the coin? So here, so far we have pretty much Sammy's approach. Okay, maybe we'll see if we have time for more. And that's in here also. Read the Birchei Yosef. Sam would say it depends what the alternative is. Maybe Rabbi Shmuel was a big believer in supporting your family and wasn't such a big believer in Greek wisdom. So when it comes to supporting your family, he says, leave the Mei Midrash and go to work. When it comes to Greek wisdom, he says, stay in the Mei Midrash. Okay, Raven.
But he also might say you could learn Greek wisdom because you said there are 2 aspects. One, you're chiyuv, and 2, once you're Talmud Chacham, because his nephew is Talmud Chacham.
Oh, that was the student that you just said. That's the student that you're saying. If the expanded chiyuv is a function of the need for knowledge, if I have it already, then you should go learn. That's very clever. Okay, anybody else? Tyler.
I mean, if we're saying that Rashi was taking the side of, you should be learning all day and everything, wouldn't a hospital coming down and telling him, oh, this isn't the way to do things, wouldn't that be like kind of lowish shemaimi, like time?
Okay, so that's a really interesting question. I will just point out, guys, we all have learned, most of us have learned the famous Gemara about ignoring the Bakel because lo b'shamayim, and I love the idea. God can't possibly, we have to decide. I just want to point out that our traditions are a lot more complex, and be careful when you derive everything from one Gemara. Does anyone know of a Gemara where a Bakel decides the halacha? It's a very famous one, actually. Very famous. Anyone else? It's a Gemara in Evan. Evan.
I mean, I don't think I'm talking about what you're talking about. Soda is kind of like a...
Oh, that's interesting. Okay, very good. The Leffel School. Okay. Oh, the guy just left to take a new job.
Yeah.
Michael K. Are you friendly with him?
President of BJ. Yeah.
Okay. Excellent. Who's going to take over?
Rabbi Blau. Very fun.
Isn't that like...
Wait, let me explain one second.
Rav David's friends with him. They want to go to Africa.
Well, Rav David knows everybody in the conservative.
That's
Okay. Here we go. Okay. Do we have any sons of conservative rabbis coming next year? Have to check it out. Okay. So, otherwise we'd be very disappointed. Okay, but let's explain what Evan's saying. Okay, the Ramban points this out. Sota is very unusual because no one ever settles in as a monetary dispute. Oh, God will tell us who's right. It's not the way halacha works, right? Human beings have to try to figure out who's right. Somehow in Sota, is like divine ruling on whether she's guilty or not. So there's a Ramban like that, but that Sota is really unique. You're right. Okay, guys, and remember this one Evan about Beit Shammai and Beit Hillel arguing for 3 years? Ring a bell to anybody? And it's a meta debate. They're not arguing about a specific, they're arguing about who should win the halacha in general. Beit Shammai or Beit Hillel. How does it resolve there, guys? So Bakel says, this famous quote, guys. Elu ve'elu, Dirilu kim chayim, ve'halacha keveilu. Okay, that's more Ervin. Take a look. Leroy, you knew that? Did you know that?
All I knew was that Hillel is for this world and Beit Shammai is for the
No, Lord, if war sucks, you would know that. Okay, so in any case, but wait, doesn't it sound like that Bakel is determining the halacha? So even though again, I very much like the idea that Bakels can't have any role, our tradition is a lot more complex than that. Okay, we're good? Anybody other than the comment question? We get to the last source? All right, last source of the day. This is very much what Mitchell said. Okay, so many of you know there was a Rav in Tvinsk named Rabbi Simcha. Very, very nice Rav. He wrote a Perish on Chumash called the Meshach Chachma and a Perish on Rambam called Or Sameach. If you think about his name, the title is obvious. His name was Rabbi Meir Simcha. Obviously, you get Meir Simcha in the phrase Or Sameach. Okay, so that's the good guys. You could challenge your buddies in the Or Sameach program. Okay, let me know what the result of this experiment is. Ask them who Or Sameach is named after. I'd be curious if they know or not. Okay. I'm sorry, what do you do? Okay, so you wanted to say something negative about the Or Sameach program? Okay, so let's go. Let's go to the Or Sameach here, guys. V'nimtza mitzvah Talmud Torah asher b'vadai im yivakesh adam teref mazon. Let's say you're going out to get food. Bekoza eno shechshav u'mafriya mitzvah Talmud Torah. We don't consider you as being mafriya. What's mafriya in non-Hebrew? Bothering. You're not interrupting Talmud Torah. That's legitimate. But something not. Okay. So notice he's going to Rabbi Shmuel. But now he goes further. Mitchell, is exactly your point. I think it's crucial. V'chein l'mashal adam chalush hamezek. So to somebody, chalush. What if you're just weak, right? You just don't have the stamina to study all day, right? So then, once again, you can close your Gemara sometimes because you're weak. Next, everybody based on who they are. מרגשת בשכלה, הזך ונקשרה באבטון האהבה ותלמוד תורה, לאיש אשר כל פניו שון ירפים ועצלים. So I think he's totally opposite of this. People are really, really different. So maybe there's certain mitzvah where I don't care how different you are. Right? Let's say it comes to taking the lulav. I think you can all agree, no matter who you are, it's the same act. It's a very simple act. Take 4 minim, hold them, shake them. Right? It's very simple. But wouldn't you agree that there's something very individualistic about Talmud Torah? You have to ask a lot of questions, right? Are you an intellectually curious person? Are you a smart person? Do you have physical stamina? Right? How many other responsibilities do you have in the family? Right? So says the Meshach, like a beautiful idea. He says, since that's true, since Torah is such a sliding scale, that explains our entire topic. Meaning, what did halacha do here? It gave a minimal chiyuv. Why a minimal chiyuv? Because for some people, that's the right answer. Yet, why do we have this maximalist other theme? Because for other people, they should be learning much more. It very much depends who you are. Mitchell, exactly what you said, right? Here it is, you're Sameach. So I think this is totally true, guys. And I'll close with this. I think this is very open to your lives. Because not only is this true on a personal level, I would say it's also true in terms of stages of your life. Obviously, what's considered good Talmud Torah or requisite amount should change based on what you're up to. Just to go through very briefly, I'll go through 3 stages. Right now in Yeshiva, you guys have no other responsibilities. So you should be learning all day. Right? What else is distracting you unless you're watching the Cleveland Cavaliers at 3 in the morning? Okay, but you just learn all day. What about when you're out there in the working world? So I think at that point, it's not reasonable to expect you to learn many hours a day. Let's say, Raymond has a tough job in finance in New York. Okay, and he doesn't get to see his family ever. Okay, hopefully that's not true. Okay, so I think at that point, if you learn a half hour a day, that's pretty heroic. Like, what more do you want from me? What will be an interim in the middle here, guys? I would suggest that college would be like in the middle, right? Obviously, it's not yeshiva. You're not going to be learning all day. But who said it today? Oh, Mike said it. But I think at the same time, right, you have a nice amount of free time in college. And therefore, you can learn a couple hours a day. Yes, Raymond is in an Ivy League school and a double program, and he still has time to learn. Okay, so I think I only have 3 exceptions. Okay, here's the one excuse you have. Okay, none of you have any excuses about not learning well in college unless you are studying pre-med and it's the semester of organic chemistry, or you're studying architecture, or you're in mechanical engineering. Short of that, don't tell me you don't have time to learn. Okay, you've got plenty of time. Yeah, Sammy.
I feel like creating like a strict baseline, like you have to say Shema, it kind of takes the love or the purpose of learning for love out of learning.
No, it's the opposite, right? I'm telling you, you have a minimum approach, and yet learn more. That's a learning out of love. I would say the more that is just obligatory, the less avas involved.
But wouldn't they describe it with strict terms if it were purely based on love? Learn to it feels odd to put a strict measurement on
No, but again, it's a cap that there's no minimum, but it's not saying that you have to stop there. Oh, just to explain, guys, I think it's actually an important point. When it comes to stuck-up, would you say there's no maximum? So actually there is. Right? We don't want you to give all your money away to charity and then be poor. So there is, I'm sorry? Right, so there is a concept in life of this is a really good act, it's a mitzvah, and yet there's a limit. So in theory, you could have said that about Talmud Torah. But when the Tiferet Yisrael says there's no Shiur Lamata and no Shiur Lamala, he's kind of saying we don't cap it. Okay, we already are. Rabbi, I'm finishing in 30 seconds. Yeah. You are.
Just on a purely theoretical level.
Yeah.
Let's say there was a law in the place that you live that might prevent you from studying Torah. Are you obliged to...
Oh, that's a great question, Rabbi. For now. It gets into a whole part of the conversation. Okay, somebody will ask a question? Yeah. All right, guys. Everybody have a wonderful Shabbat. And before I forget,